Hi everyone, it's Becky here. Welcome to another new video on my YouTube channel. And today is a perfect sunny day here in Vancouver, and it's very rare in winter. I'm on my way to Granville Island. So this island is not that far from downtown Vancouver. And it's a great place to be any time of the year. There are lots of artisan workshops, art galleries to check out here. So there are a lot of ceramics and glass artisan workshops here. Ooh, these are really fancy glass vessels. So charming. Looking around, these are the famous painted concrete tubes by two Brazilian artists. Now we're walking to the Granville Island public market. There's a lot of fresh fruits and veggies. And also many bakeries and cafes. Ooh, these pastries look delicious. So I just grabbed my lunch and a cup of coffee. And here I am sitting upstairs and enjoying the warm sunshine and the view outside the big windows, the Granville Island Bridge and the cityscape, and lots of people walking around. So I ordered a German-style sausage in a hot dog bun with sauerkraut and pickles. After eating, I'm going to sketch the view in front of me. Beautiful. Okay, so before eating my hot dog, I'm just going to do a very quick sketch for about 7 minutes. Beginning with the line drawing, as always, with my waterproof fine liner pen to draw the contour outline of the hot dog bun, the gap in the middle, and the sauerkraut pieces. So the time-lapse speed right now is 4 times faster than my actual drawing speed. I'm actually drawing these slices of sour cabbage very quickly, trying to capture the entangling form rather than the specific details. So I'm not trying to capture every single strand of cabbage, just to capture the spirit of the tanglement. Now I'm starting to draw the lid of my coffee cup, the ellipse, and the looping lines underneath. And I always love drawing my coffee cups, especially paper cups. There are a lot of interesting curves. And then writing down the name of the little cafe. The coffee is actually really good. I ordered a caramel macchiato, and it's actually the best caramel macchiato I've had ever, actually. Alright, so now after the quick drawing process, I'm ready to paint watercolors. Just wetting the bun area with clear water and putting on diluted yellow ochre mixed with cadmium yellow. The first layer for everything has a mild yellow glow. And then lime green for the pickle. Orange mixed with burnt sienna for the second layer of the bun. Now it has a really tasty color. Third layer, burnt sienna. Just so now I have transition of 3 colors. Some red for the ketchup. Red-brown for the ketchup, and let's see, and viridian green for the skin of the pickle. Some more muted yellow ochre mixed with leftover green for the sauerkraut. And quickly painting the sleeve with yellow ochre and a tiny bit of burnt sienna to add a little bit of relief. Most of the coffee cups surface is of different kinds of gray tones, and I use the leftover gray from my palette that I mix with green, blue, and royal purple. And same for the shadow of the hot dog. With water control, I get 2 to 3 different kinds of grays. Here's the look of my finished sketch of my lunch and coffee. So after eating and enjoying my coffee, I'm ready to sketch the view in front of me. The view outside the window containing Burrard Bridge, the water, and lots of boats. So here I'm starting with the simple broad window frame. And now I am just looking at the people in front of me. sitting by the window. There's a side view of a woman, the hoodie of her jacket, the wrinkles on her jacket, her elbow bending, her purse, and then drawing the back view of another lady, the hoodie and then her back, the back of the chair, and then adding the folds of her winter jacket. Now I'm drawing the guy talking to these two ladies. They're in the same group. And coloring his hair with solid black ink. Yeah, and he has a pretty happy facial expression. Now I'm starting to draw the other lady in a hat, the shape of her hair, the ear, and then again the shape of the elbow. Can't see her forearm because of the angle that I'm looking at her. Now I'm starting to draw the chair for this lady, so she's sitting on somewhere. The back of this lady's chair, the seat. So when people are sitting down, their body seems to be kind of shorter compared to their standing position. Okay, just adding these legs for the chairs. Don't forget the overlapping areas in between the chair's legs, those people's legs and shoes. And again, coloring her hair with solid black ink. She's holding her fork and eating her lunch. I think it's so much fun to sketch people from real life observations compared to drawing from photos, because their gestures I'm capturing right now feels more animated compared to drawing from a reference photo. And these sitting people are actually way easier compared to those people walking around. Yeah, and I just fixed the bottom of the window frame and adding some details around the broad window frame and rows of floorboards. Alright, so that's very much it for the indoor space. So just adding some accentuation around the bottom of the window frame. Now I'm ready to move on to drawing the view outside, starting with the left side of Burrard Bridge, which is a rectangular prism shape, and same for the right side. The structure of the bridge is in between with lots of railings. Just adding these two cute little windows for the columns of the bridge and bits of details like on castles. Now shading these two columns with solid black ink just to give the structure very strong 3-dimension, and then drawing the rainbow shaped arch and the railing pieces. So basically a lot of vertical and diagonal lines forming triangles and another row of those lines behind. And keep drawing the structure of the bridge on the right side. Lamp posts on the bridge. Drawing some seagulls flying by to add more life for this scenery. And continuing to draw the left side of the bridge. Make sure it's a continuation of the main bridge body and the arches. And the small section of railings here on the right hand side. A building beside the bridge here. Just simplify the building with a rectangular shape and small square shapes for the windows. Now drawing this little boat passing by underneath the bridge. There's actually a piece of land in the far distance behind the bridge, the foliage outline and more buildings. And I'm using a slightly more gentle hand pressure to draw these details in the distance, so they're not competing with the details in the foreground. Now I'm ready to move on to working harder on the bridge structure, these railings. Yeah, so I just see a bunch of vertical and diagonal lines for those railings, and that's it. Now, starting to draw these boats very quickly. There are like lots of overlappings of hundreds of boats together in a big cluster there underneath the railings. So I'm just pretty much using a blind contour technique. Yeah, so most of these boats are trapezoid shapes, and a mass, a bunch of vertical lines in different heights. And keep going. I'm not trying to capture every single boat that's out there, but trying to capture the feel of the cluster. Adding a bit of accentuation here, and yeah, the piece of land in the distance underneath the railings. There's another little boat in the distance, and a couple more around the column here. Adding a bit of accentuations on underneath the bottom of the bridge, and there's a dock over there. There is a little aquabus, or the little ferry, passing by, taking people to different parts of Vancouver. So Granville Island is one of the stops of these aquabuses or ferries. Now I'm starting to draw these fun wires around the window frame and some smaller details. That's it for the line work. It took me about 25 minutes to draw these details. A lot of things to simplify, to shorten the amount of time to draw. Okay, finally, I just forgot these lamp posts on the bridge. Alright, so now it's time to move on to painting watercolors. As always, when painting a landscape, I always like to start with the sky. So I just wetted the sky with clear water by squeezing my large tip Holbein brand water brush. It's pretty important to wet the paper first so we get a really translucent wash, especially for the sky. It's not a solid blue. So I just put on a bit of diluted cerulean blue mixed with leftover lime green. The bottom of the sky is always a bit more turquoise compared to the top. Okay, a little bit more cerulean blue, clear and fresh. I'm also diluting the paint on paper a little bit by squeezing my water brush. I see a very bit of soft clouds hanging there in the sky, and putting on some stronger cerulean blue for the top part of the sky containing less water. When I'm painting sky, I always like to feel the movement of air of that blue area, so it's very rarely a solid blue, always containing a bit of color transition. Yeah, and don't forget those spaces between the railings and underneath, above the little mountain there. Now the sky, that's it. Now I'm just wetting the water area with clear water for the same reason, so I have a really clear and translucent wash. So first of all, I need a bit of a yellow glow, the reflection of the bridge underneath the two columns, and a super diluted yellow. This is the color of the sunshine on the surface of the water. So as I'm laying these colors on paper, I'm also injecting my sensation of how I feel about the movement of those lapping waters on there. And also the same yellow for the first layer of the mountains in the distance. Everything is covered in a mild yellow from the sun. And now I just mixed lime green with cerulean blue for the surface of the water. And I'm also diluting this color on the surface of water to create a bit of transition. Just like the sky, the water also contains many areas of transitions from light to dark of the same color in different values. And to control the values of the same color in watercolors is actually to control the amount of water that we mix into the paint or how we dilute it on the surface of the paper. Yeah, and just keep painting on, putting some fresh new turquoise blue, diluting it or spreading it around. Yeah, so some of my brush strokes are kind of visible to show the ripples. I'm also leaving some little gaps of the mild yellow for the highlights on the surface of the water, the peaks of those lapping water. And yeah, just fill in those gaps in between these people. And this is very much it for the first layer of the water. Now I'm starting to add a darker value. This is very much the same color, lime green mixed with cerulean blue, this time containing less water. And also higher ratio of cerulean blue, diluted with less water. I'm also using more gentle pressure holding my brush, so I have these thin and delicate brush strokes for the ripples. And the mountain in the distance has a really similar hue as the water. Mountains in the distance, it has more of a turquoise blue color because of aerial perspective. So yeah, very much the same color, but I think I'm mixing more green into it. And also this color is slightly more diluted compared to the second layer of the water, because I want to show that the mountains are actually looking a little bit misty in the distance. And the underpainting, that mild yellow, is also showing through this turquoise green, giving a really warm feeling to the mountain. And just quickly painting the columns for the bridge using yellow ochre. So again, this is the Burrard Bridge, a historic bridge here in Vancouver, almost 100 years old. So it was constructed from 1930 to 1932. And I just punched on little brush strokes of viridian green for the foliage forms underneath and behind the bridge. Okay, so now it's time to sort of mix the shade color for those boats. So I just mix a little bit cobalt blue and royal purple for the shade color of these boats. So most of them are actually white, but their shade color is of a blue-violet color. Yeah, just almost invisible brush marks. Yeah, so just some final polish for the surface of the water. Filling in those little gaps that I might forgot. Now it's time to paint the floorboards. So the first layer is a really warm lemon yellow with a little bit of yellow ochre mixed with cadmium yellow. Now I need to suggest the lighting condition of the floor. So the edge closer to the bottom of the window is brighter, catching more sun. So the middle of the floor closer to me is slightly more shaded. So I put on a bit of burnt sienna with yellow ochre to create transitions of yellows and yellow browns. And same for these boards around the window, containing transitions of yellows, yellow brown, like 2 to 3 different tones. And on the very top is brown or raw umber. So I'm using very thin and quick brushstrokes to suggest the grainy texture of wood. Yeah, so basically this is how I make my watercolors more interesting, is to really see the different transitions of values. Even though when I'm only seeing one color, I see several values of that singular color. Now it's time to paint these foreground elements, the tables, the chairs, and those people. And sometimes I do use black from my palette for painting people with black hair. For the skin color, I mix orange and red and dilute it with a lot of water to get a peachy skin tone. Most people nowadays, they wear black or deep blue, violet outfits. And I mix my own gray or black with blue, green, and royal purple containing more or less water. So I get different kinds of grays from light to dark values. And yeah, remember this lady was wearing a pink purple jacket and a red purse. And just mixing a little bit black into the leftover orange. So it's a kind of a muted gray for these people's outfits here. Yeah, and blue jeans for these two ladies. And just final bits of polish here and there. That's it. Now I'm just writing down the date and date on the bottom right hand corner inside the cute little circle. Okay, so this is how I am sketching at the public market. I'm attaching a gooseneck tripod from Amazon to the edge of the table and my iPhone 8 Plus attached to the tripod. Now I'm taking pictures for Instagram. As always, yeah, there are a lot of cute dogs. Oh, here's the Shiba Inu. Yeah, so Shiba Inu is one of my favorite dog breeds. And it's time to go home. Thank you so much for watching this video, everyone. If you like it, please click like and leave me a comment below. Subscribe to my channel for weekly updates. I try to update my channel 2 to 3 times a week. Have a great day, everyone. Bye!